highways snapped. Bridges broken.
That we've been trying to get, that they've forgotten about us.
Communities cut off. 1 year later, temporary routes now connect the province.
BC in some ways is writing the book on new engineering standards for climate adaptation in the 21st century.
Last year's floods impacted thousands of kilometers of BC highways, much of the damage on highways 1, 5, and 8.
This is the old Highway 8, completely destroyed, unsalvageable. The new temporary Highway 8 runs parallel to the old one using pre-existing infrastructure like this bridge that used to cater to an old rail line.
2, 1, here we go.
The temporary Highway 8 opening just last week, costing about $100 million. No timeline or cost yet for a permanent replacement. Meanwhile, Highway 1 temporary repairs costing as much as $40 million, with completion set for 2024. On the Coquihalla, temporary routes have cost around $50 million, set to be complete by the winter. All the temporary repairs totaling $240 million. The province estimates all permanent repairs will cost $1 billion to make roads more flood resilient.
And so you may be looking at things such as footings, for example, making sure that they're more secure than we saw in some of the ones on the Coquihalla.
Banking on the feds to chip in.
We expect at least, in the very least, 70% reimbursed to the province.
Well, right now we don't have a bridge.
But members of the Shakan Indian band still left out in the cold when the bridge connecting Highway 8 to their homes was decimated. They're still waiting for a replacement so they can go back.
And every time that I come down here and have a look at it, it basically, a piece of my heart has been broken.
Having trouble finding even a temporary home.
It's been very stressful and very traumatic. And we've had a hard time in Merritt getting housing.
We need to move faster. There's no question about that.
As this river went down and made what was the old road into the new river channel.
Meanwhile, parts of Merritt still unrecognizable. Most of the city underwater 1 year ago, some roads still waiting to be rebuilt.
At the moment, that hinges on funding permits from the provincial government.
But the city's biggest concern is the future. A plan to improve dikes and buying out properties to create a bigger flood channel would cost tens of millions.
At this point, we have a lot of really good engineering work for how to prevent this, but no particular funding source identified.
Money and time, something communities in the interior don't have.